Hello everyone, today we're working on a 2017 Silverado. It's got a 6.6 Duramax diesel in it. We're installing an Amsoil bypass filter system on it, the BMK27. And that kit comes complete with filters, the hose ends. We've also got an adapter here for where the original full flow filter was at. It's a two-piece adapter. Comes with the fittings needed for it, one in the middle, one coming out the side. We've also got the filter head, all the bolts that come with it, and we got the full instructions as well. So it comes pretty much as a complete kit. What it doesn't come with is the ability to attach it to your vehicle, your frame. This stuff over here these are all items that I fabricate to make the installation go very easy, very simple. And we'll show you where this all mounts at, but I will be selling these parts as a kit to allow you to attach this to the vehicle. So if you want pricing and information on that, you can get a hold of me. Another thing we're doing, we're installing a Amsoil diesel oil. It's a synthetic diesel oil, 5W40, and that's what we'll be using in it. What we've done already is we drained the oil out, warmed it up and drained it, and we took a sample of the original oil. Okay, that gives us something to compare to down the road to see how everything's performing as far as wear with the Amsoil synthetic and also the bypass filtration. So just a heads up on that, before you drain your oil, you may want to take a sample of it to compare. And another thing that we're going to do on this truck, I'm a dealer for the gold plug. Firmly believe in them for every gearbox that you've got, because it's the only filter that's in that system. Now on this engine, this Duramax engine, we're going to put one on the engine oil drain plug. These magnets are very strong. They're a neodymium magnet. They're not real big, but they're very powerful. Your standard magnets, they're kind of limited in strength. And we've got about a 3/4 inch diameter bolt here, and we can get it up part way with this. We can't quite get it up all the way. You can see again the size difference of the magnet. The neodymium is a very strong magnet, a lot of pull to it, and with that neodymium magnet we can pick that right up. Huge difference in strength. What that does, that'll pull any of that metal it's in your oil out to that magnet. The stronger that magnet is, the more it's going to attract to it, the more it's going to take out of your oil. So it keeps that oil much cleaner. So again, I'm a dealer for those, the gold plugs, and if you want them for the Duramax, I can sure get them for you. So we're going to get started installing all this and get back with you. Okay, one of the first things that we're going to do is take out the plug on the dirty oil coming from the engine. Now, the way this is set up, this goes on where the original full flow filter was at. And the dirty oil coming from the sump goes through the oil pump, gets sent up to the original filter, gets rerouted to the dual bypass. And that dirty oil, you can see the arrows, there's this arrow coming in, that's the dirty oil from the engine. And that comes in, that dirty oil goes through the filters. Right here you can see the ports. Goes up through the filter, through the outside of the pleating, and up the center, okay? And then from the center, it goes out back to the engine to feed all the bearings. Okay, so we want to take that oil on the dirty oil coming from the crankcase. So this plug right here, we're going to take that out, and that's a 5/16 head on there. It's an Allen head, and they put a little bit of Loctite on from the factory so they can come out a little hard. What I typically will use is an impact. Most of the time a battery impact will take it out. If that don't, I'll get my 1/2 inch air impact, and that'll usually knock it out. But on this dirty side, we want to take that plug out. And once you get that plug out, you've got to maintain the cleanliness on the clean side of this filter head. Okay, the cleaned oil that's gone through the filters goes up the center ports, and from there it feeds back to the engine. So from the time you get this filter out of the box, you need to inspect it and make sure there's nothing in that filter on the clean side, this filter head, or the passages, all the way back to that engine. And as you're working underneath the vehicle, you may have dirt that you're dealing with, or sand, or what have you. Make sure that you aren't getting any of that into these clean side of the ports here going back to the engine, because the very first stop after these ports is your engine bearings. So you got to keep that clean. Okay, and I'll look through there with the flashlight and just look at those ports and make sure everything's clean. I'll even blow them out with air, compressed air, clean compressed air, just to make sure everything's clean. And do the same when you put the hoses together too. So keep that clean side clean. The stuff coming from the engine, that's got to go through the filter. That's not that big of a deal. But going back to feed those bearings, that's important. Now, this I've got an adapter and I've got a sample valve that we'll be putting on. And that adapter goes on in place of that plug. And the sample valve that I have has a cap on it to keep everything clean. Amsoil does sell a valve that for taking oil samples, but the valve doesn't have a cap on it. So the water, the dirt, the mud, whatever is going to get up in there and it's going to mess with your samples. Okay, so with this cap on there, it keeps everything clean. And this is all going to go on. We'll kind of show you once we get into the vehicle where it all rests. But that kind of gives you some idea. Keep everything clean. Shows you how that sample valve is going to be plumbed up. So we're going to start putting on the mount brackets, and we'll get back with you. Okay, this is going to give you some idea where we're mounting at. We're underneath the driver's side door. And if you go directly under there, we have these holes in the frame right here. GM went to a box frame. And these are the holes we're going to use for mounting. First thing we're going to do, there's a wire loom up here, and they have Christmas tree type things hold them into the frame. Okay, we want to go ahead and just pop them out, take them loose. There's 3 of them there, and then just kind of sling that up over the top for now, so it's out of the way. Okay, and these here are going to be our mount flanges, or our mount for the brackets. The big hole in the center is going to be for anchoring the bracket. The 2 small ones are what's going to center this in the hole, okay? And we've got a rounded edge here that we can slip in. So what I'm going to do, I'll show you how this all goes together. And the one on the rounded end I'm going to screw in a little bit further, because that frame's only about probably 3/16 thick at the most. Take this other one out. And then in the center, we're going to put this bolt. And that bolt's going to be what you're going to use to hold it. Now, these are Allen heads, and they're 5/32 Allen. Okay, now what we're going to do is go up inside the hole like this, like so, and then hold on to the piece with that big bolt, the 3/8 bolt. I might have that in a little farther than it should be. And what we're going to do is we're going to start screwing that in, just like so. If you want to put a little bit of Loctite on these, you could, but once this bolt is tight with the bracket, it really can't go anywhere. And the biggest thing here is when you go to tighten these 2 Allen heads up, tighten them up evenly, because they're going to be almost flush when we're done. If one goes in faster than the other, we don't want that. We want them to go in pretty well even. Okay. And then what you got to do is you got to eyeball it. We want the same amount of space on each side so that the hole is pretty well centered. And before you get them tight, you can kind of adjust it and get it so that it looks just about even on both sides. Same amount of space. Okay. And then go ahead and snug these down. And when you snug them down, like I said, do it evenly so that they're both out and even. It's going to take just a little bit of a bite into the frame as you tighten it. But again, don't go too far. They should be almost even, the head of them with the frame, just a little bit sticking out. And again, these bolts are just basically there to hold that in place until you get this big bolt with the brackets all torqued. Alright. Good and snug, okay? Now we can go ahead and take that bolt out. And we've got that one centered now. We've got another one here. Do the same on this upper hole right here. Basically the exact same procedure. And the other thing too, these holes on the back side here, there's an analog brake valve. These holes are for the nuts. There's actually 3 holes here. And there's nuts with studs come through from that analog brake controller. So if you ever have to get to that, you can take these back out again to take off your analog brake controller if you ever have to replace it. So they are removable. And again, get it centered up in the hole. The holes in my bracket are a little bit oversized, but you got to get it pretty close. Again, before you go to tighten them up all the way, get it centered so you got an even amount on each side. The bolts themselves will center it up top to bottom, but the side to side, that's what you got to eyeball. Get that in there just right. And go ahead and snug them up. They do have a little goop on that frame. It's kind of a greasy tar-like stuff, and it likes to move around a little bit until you get them really tight. You got to get them pretty snug too, because some of that goop's on the inside of the frame. If you don't get them tight enough and you go to torque that bolt, the thing will spin inside the frame. We don't want that to happen. So like I said, get these tight enough or snug enough that ain't going to happen. Okay. That's it for the top one. Okay, now I'm going to grab the bracket. Okay, this is going to be the top bolt at the top of the bracket. We're going to put a little bit of Loctite on that. A little bit of blue Loctite, just to give that a little more vibration resistance. And I've got a second bolt here that I've just for putting in the bottom until I go to put the long one in, because this long one's going to eventually be in that bottom hole. So now that we got that, we're going to take the bracket and bring it right up here on the top side of that wire loom and over top of that emergency brake cable. We're going to get that lined up with and centered on our mount flange inside the frame there, and go ahead and get that started. Okay, and I'm going to put this one in, like I said, temporarily, just to keep everything true and lined up. And we're going to tighten up that top one. And I got that set at about 35 foot-pounds. Okay, now the top one's torqued, that's done. Okay, and that bottom one, if you want to take that out now you can, or you can leave it in, it's up to you. Next step is we're going to start putting together the bracket for the filter head, and that's going to bolt right up here. And the first 2 bolts we're going to put into the top 2. And we've got a lock nut on the back side. Now these 2 bolts are hard to get at once you put that filter together, so you want to tighten these up first. And if you want to, put the other 2 bolts in just to make sure your holes are all lined up before you torque it. Just slip those in to make sure everything's lined up like it should be. So we're going to go ahead and torque down these 2 bolts right here, and then we're going to go ahead and get started putting the rest of it together. Alright. Okay, here's those arrows again. the outside, towards the outside of the vehicle, is going to be the oil coming from the engine. Okay, that's dirty oil. Cleaned oil is going to be towards the inside. So you can see those arrows there. I got 2 bolts right here, and we'll take this, this filter head up, and we're going to put a couple of nuts on the top side. Okay, the next piece to go on is this one, and you can see these tapers right here. Those tapers go towards the filter, and what we're going to do there is use the same length of bolts, these longer bolts. And that's going to go up through. We'll do those one at a time. And that goes up through the filter, and on the top side we put some more, put the nuts on. Okay, and then the last ones that you'll be putting in will be these through here, because there's another bracket. And that bracket is going to be to prevent rocks from hitting from the tire. That bracket's going to go on here last. And that's going to get fastened on the back side here, and then with a long bolt through here. We'll show you that here in a minute. For right now, we're going to tighten up these bolts here, and then we'll continue on. Okay, now we're ready to put these little Christmas trees back in the frame for this wire loom. Just push them back in the holes, re-secure them. Okay, that's good and snug again. And then the next thing that's going up is the rock guard. And the original bolts that come with this are only about an inch, a little over an inch long, maybe an inch and a quarter. By the time we get this bracket up there, they're not long enough. So in the kit that I provide, I'll have longer bolts, or 1.5 inch bolts. Those are to go through there. And then you can use the lock nuts that Amsoil provides, original with the kit, on the back side. So this rock guard is going to come up just like so, and we're going to start the screws on the back side, or the nuts I should say. Okay. The reason I'm incorporating this rock guard is I had people that ask me about rocks coming off those tires, they're radial tires, and guys that off-road, and they want a little more protection, so I'm adding this in. Okay, the next thing we're going to do on this bolt right here, we're going to put some Loctite thread locker, and looks like the whole thing unscrewed. We don't want that. Alright, there we go. Okay, and then we've got a spacer that goes in there as well. Okay, and this is what we're going to do right here. Okay, that makes everything very solid. Gives us some protection from the rocks and the brush or whatever comes up here for those filters. Okay, next thing to do, we're going to torque down, tighten down these 2 bolts, and then the next thing we're going to do is start running the hoses. So we'll get back to you on that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is the adapter for where the original full filter is at. We're going to install the fitting into that before we go underneath the truck. It's just easier to do it on the vise, and on the bench. And again, you can use either oil to lubricate those O-rings or grease. I tend to like grease because it doesn't run off the fitting and make a mess on the floor or anywhere else. And I'll just put a good coat of that around that O-ring to make it slip into the spot where it rests at nice and smooth, so we don't nick it. Okay. And same on this this one down here. We got an O-ring right here that seals up to this outer piece, and I'm going to coat that as well. And another thing, the the seal right here for this adapter, if you should happen to damage that seal, it's the exact same seal as what you'll find on the filter. So if you do damage it, go find yourself a brand new, filter and get they're basically the exact same square cut O-ring. So that's just for down the road if you do happen to damage the original one or it leaks or something. The one from the filter is exactly the same size, square cut. So just something to keep in mind. These are supposed to have about 80 foot-pounds of torque on, get them good and snug. Like I said, this is a clean side, make sure everything stays clean. Now, this fitting right here I'm going to put up after we get it up on the truck, because it's really hard to clamp this round piece without damaging it, damaging the paint or what have you. So we're going to put that in once we get this center nut here tightened down. So we're going to go ahead and do that and get back to you. Okay, we're getting ready to put the adapter on here where the original full flow filter was. Take a clean rag and make sure you get all that oil and dirt off of that flange. Okay, and we've got the adapter here ready to go up. I've greased everything. The O-rings are all greased. Okay, what they're telling me to do with this gold nut is take it up hand tight and then go a full turn and a quarter more. Okay, and that's 1 3/4 inches. That gold nut is 1 3/4 inches. So if you got a 3/4 inch socket set, that'll work perfect for that. And I'm going to leave this this side one. I'm not exactly sure if we're going to go up a little bit with that yet, so I'm going to leave that gold nut loose until I get my hoses all figured out and get those routed. And that's going to be my next thing to do. So we'll get started with that and be back with you. Okay, here's the procedure for putting together the hose ends. First thing you want to make sure of is that you've got a nice square cut on the end of that. Now what I use, I got a blue point tool here that I use for cutting my hoses, and it does a nice job, does a nice square cut on it. And this hose is a nylon reinforced hose, there's no wire in it, but it gives you a nice square cut on it. And first thing you want to do is unscrew the outside shell of that hose fitting. And these are reverse threads on there, I do believe. So you're going to take that and turn it on by hand. And you're going to see the threads right here. There's threads right there at the end of my fingernail. Just take it up to about where those threads are at, up tight, and then back it off just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. And then I take some oil, same oil as what you're using in the engine, and I'm going to coat it so that everything kind of slides together nice on the inside of that hose. It's got a taper on it, and that oil there will help with the taper as it gets pushed into the hose. And this here is a right hand thread on this insert. And we'll clamp that in the vise. And take that down all the way. When you're done, you can look inside with a flashlight and make sure everything looks good. And again, keep your hoses clean. So that's the procedure for doing the hose end. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Now, what I do is go ahead and put both ends. I take that whole length of hose that comes with the kit and I put a hose end on each end. So basically it's one hose, and put one on the supply going over to the filter head, and I'll put the other one on the return going back to the block. I'll have my filter adapter here turned to where I need it for this outlet, fairly close, and then I'll figure out from here just where I'm going to cut the hoses. We want that hose is going to come up to about right in this area, about where the end of my fingernail is. Okay, so we're going to keep track of which hose goes where, and we're going to get it up here and get it routed where we want it, and then we'll make our mark and cut it, and we'll take the hose back off and assemble the ends, and we'll be about done. So just to make things simpler for you, get everything up before you cut these hoses. get your hangers there for the hose, everything in place where you want it before you start cutting, you know, to do your final assembly on that hose. So we'll do that and get back with you. Okay, we've got our hoses cut. Now we're going to finish torquing this down. Remember, about 1.25 inch turn. Right now I've got it up to finger tight, and we're going to try and keep track of our turns here. We've got the spot here in the socket. You might have to hold it because it's going to want to probably turn a little bit. Alright, that's about as tight as I want to go. Biggest thing is we can't grab a hold of that and move it. So we got not quite a turn, just about a turn on it. Okay, now the next thing is to tighten this one up. That's a 1-inch wrench size on that. Get that at the angle you desire. The back side of it is a 7/8 if you need to hold it, if you can hold it. And get the wrench on too. I don't know if we can fit them both in there. I don't think so. So, yeah, what I might do is just put the hose, give myself a little leverage. Okay. Alright, that's good and tight. Now, we're going to swing our hoses in where they need to go. And again, now's a good time. I blew through the hose for the clean side. You got to make sure you keep that baby clean. And this one here is the one for the clean side, I do believe. And what I did is I marked it blue on the end right here. That indicates the one that I got for the clean side. Okay, and the other end, we're going to put on the filter head. And that goes towards the inside. That goes on right there. And actually, I might leave that off just for now. Let it hang down because I got to tighten that outside one first. It's a little tighter to get on. So let's go ahead and route that inside, or the outside one rather, the dirty oil. Come on. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and put these hoses on the outside. Okay, there's that one. And we'll go with the inside one here. Alright, we're going to tighten these up, and we're going to put our bolts in up there for our hose support, and we're going to put on the oil sample valve here. So we're going to do that, and we'll get back with you. Okay, we need to support these lines because they're going to be bouncing around. There's brake lines right here on top of the frame. And you don't want to attach to the cab because there's going to be vibrations, sort of like hydraulic harmonics or vibrations that will transfer through to the cab, and you'll feel it and hear it. Okay, so we need to attach the frame. So what we're going to do, we're going to put one bracket on here. We're going to pop, it's right here behind the cab mount here, behind the front wheel. We're going to pop off these little Christmas trees here. Get them out and push that up out of the way. And there's a hole right here. It's not a threaded hole. but it will accept a 7/16 course, and you can kind of cut your own threads going right on in. Now the thing is, when you go to put that in, you don't want to over tighten it because that frame material is only about 3/16 thick. Okay, but it'll be enough to hold our bracket up in place decent. And this will be the line support bracket for it. And what we're going to do is go just like so. Put that in there. And if you want to put some Loctite on that, you sure could. Wouldn't hurt a thing. But again, we're not holding a lot of weight. It doesn't like we're trying to hold the truck together with this bolt. So once you get it up and snug, that's as far as you need to go. That's about it right there. It's enough to hold it. It's not going to go anywhere. Don't over tighten it because you'll strip it out. And then we're going to put these two bolts, or these two clamps on rather. One for each line. Okay. And they'll basically sit right on top of each other. And push it through far enough to start the nut. Okay, the only thing we got to do yet then is tighten that down. Then we'll recheck, make sure we aren't touching the cab. And if we need to rotate that clamp a little bit, we can loosen up that bolt there and move it a little bit either way if we need to. But that kind of end, when we're all done, we can push these back in and get that harness back where it's supposed to be. So that kind of gives you some idea of how to get them nice and solid so that they aren't sitting down on those brake control lines and rubbing on those. It gets nice clearance between those and the frame, or between the lines, the brake lines and the hoses there, I should say. The sample port, we got that fitting in and tight. We lubed up the O-ring on that. We put a little bit of thread sealant on this because this is pipe threads. And we'll get that put in there and tighten it up. Kind of a snug fit, but we'll get it. Now we need to use a stubby wrench on this one. Come on. There we go. And about right there should do it. And then when you go to take your sample, you can get the engine up to temp. Take that cap off. Gives you room enough to get in there and do that. You can just crank open your little valve. Take your sample. And when you're done, close it back up and seal it up and you're done. Just like so. Okay, next thing is putting the filters on. Okay, here's a shot of it coming in from underneath the driver's side door. We got this all done. Now the filters, they're right up there just above. You can kind of see at the bottom of the frame there. Okay, frame's down here. We got probably about an inch, a good inch or better above the frame. And when I put those filters on, I pre-fill them. And another thing you're going to have to keep in mind is that those filters are going to add about 2 quarts to the system. So it originally held 10 quarts, so now we're going to be more at about 12. And this here is the rock shield that I put on there to protect it. And if we look at that from the front side, where the rocks are coming at it, it kind of shields them really nice in there. You can kind of see it well. Okay, here's a shot of the lines after we got that line support bracket up and how we got them routed. And there's a harness right here. It goes over to just above the tranny. We've got probably a good finger and a half of space there, so that's good. And right here you can see those brake lines. And again, we got about a finger's room there, and there's enough room between the cab. We'll go on the other side of the frame, the outside of the frame. Take a look at that. And right up here we've got probably about a ½ inch between there and the cab. So there's no way it can touch and vibrate on the cab. And as we go back here to the filter head, yeah, it all looks good. Okay, so that gives you some idea how everything sits. And thanks for watching my video. Thank you for watching my video. Be sure to check out my other videos and subscribe to my channel at youtube.com/c/Donsoil. I'd like to introduce you to Amsoil synthetic lubricants. We have the most complete line of synthetic lubricants on the market that offer you greatly reduced wear, extended drain intervals, longer equipment life. You can check that out at my website, donsoil.com. I also have a website for looking up fluid capacities. It's fluidcapacity.com. You can go there and print off the capacity of your engine oil, cooling system, transmission, transfer case, differentials. Be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Don Synthetic Lubes. Thank you and have a great day.